Hi everyone, I'm back. Please help confirm if I'm still breaking up or if you can hear me clearly now.
Very well now. Fine from
Okay.
my end.
All right. That's perfect. Thank you. Thanks for the thumbs up. So I was just briefly introducing Mr. Muyiwa. Mr. Muyiwa will be joining us. He's one of our speakers on this webinar. He's a data analyst and has successfully managed and analyzed large data complex sets using advanced tools and techniques, leading to breakthroughs, insights, and innovation within different companies. Next on our list, we have Mr. Kingsley Opara, who is also a data analyst. He's a seasoned professional with deep expertise in data analysis. And lastly, we are going to be joined by our amazing Mr. Emmanuel Opara. If you know Mr. Emmanuel, you know he's an expert in data analytics with over 10 years experience in the industry. He's the founder of Camanda Technologies, and he's currently serving also as the co-founder and CEO at Camanda Tech Academy, where he works with an amazing team to offer hands-on training, in-demand tech skills, equipping graduates and professionals with the skills that they need to thrive in today's digital world. Throughout his career, Mr. Emmanuel has helped hundreds of professionals gain skills that have made them do their jobs better. And with this, he's uniquely qualified to provide valuable insights into our talk for today. And of course, alongside with other amazing speakers we have who will be speaking to us today. We're incredibly fortunate to have these speakers join us today. They'll be sharing their expertise. And let's remember that we're going to be focusing on mastering data lookups in Excel. With this, I'm going to be giving the floor to our esteemed speakers who would take it up from here, and let's enjoy the webinar. And please remember, if you have questions along the line, try to drop them in the comment section. We'll have a time for the Q&A session and you can ask your questions. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Muyiwa, Mr. Kingsley, and Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you.
Awesome. I think I said this the last time. If I'm being introduced like this every time, I think I don't know how I'll feel. Well, thank you very much, Jacinta, for that wonderful and brilliant introduction. Please confirm you can hear me. Please confirm you can hear me before I proceed.
Yeah, I can hear you from my
Yeah,
end. I can hear you.
can hear you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emmanuel. Humbly called Emmanuel, please. Let's not add anything else to that, right? And as Jessica had mentioned, I lead the team at Camanda. Today, we are pleased to bring this particular skill to you. It is focused on Excel. I know many persons get to use Excel. Not everyone uses Excel, but I know many people get to use Excel at different points in time in their work, in their careers, for whatever it is. Maybe someone just wanted to share something with you and put it on Excel, or you didn't want to use it and the person just dumps it on you, right? But what we're trying to do today is to share something that from experience has been quote unquote not so clear to many persons. Some people just think it's magic that happens, right? And what we'll try to do today is to unravel what this magic is, okay? And what we're discussing today is on a concept called lookups in Excel. And to do that job today, to do justice to this topic today, I'm joined today with two wonderful, amazing persons that I respect so much, and I love the work that they do. Professionals, as it were. Kingsley and Muyiwa. Why am I pleased to have these guys join us today? At the academy today, we open ourselves to teach people different kind of skills, and these two persons I have here today also put their effort. You need to see them in class. You need to see them deliver many of these lessons to other people. And I thought about it today. I'm like, no, it's best to bring these persons on board and let's have this session together. Let's have an amazing time. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. You are going to be learning from the best of the best today. Okay? and I'll be moderating the session from now to the end of it, especially as we are going into the technical bits. So at this juncture, I'll be sharing my screen, and at this juncture, I'll be sharing my screen. Let's please confirm when you can see my screen. Please confirm when you can see my screen. I just need some persons confirming.
Yes, up now.
All right, fantastic. So before I proceed, I would like to give Kingsley and Muyiwa just a few seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, just say something to the house before we proceed. Kingsley, you go first.
Okay, good day, everyone. It's good to have 57 persons, individuals from all, from all walks of life, and right here on the call. And I want to assure you that it's going to be an amazing section. Just be attentive and follow us as we go on. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Good afternoon.
All right, move over to you. Yes, go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we are all welcome to today's master class. I'm sure that today, like they do say in church, you go home be blessed. So I'm sure we are going to learn. You are going to learn a lot from what we have in store for you today. And I'm sure that even from what we are going to show today is going to help us improve our productivities in our various offices. So I wish us all a good time for the next 1 hour that we have.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Miwa. Thank you very much, Kingsley. So without further ado, let's jump into the conversation for today. By the way, I'd love to recognize some persons whom I can tell from here. We have some of our partners on board. Some of our partners on board here, the likes of KKL, the likes of RevStar. I can see you guys here. You guys are welcome. Welcome. Thank you very much for making time to join this session today. I know you guys are very busy people, but taking time to join this session today, we are really, really blessed and indeed grateful to have you here. And I can see some of our previous learners who are also on this call. Thank you very much for joining this session. I mean, you guys are coming back to learn again. It's good to hear that. It's good to see that. So you're welcome. You're all welcome. Good. So let's get into it, right? Before we can talk about data lookups in Excel, what is this? What is this thing Emmanuel is even trying to stress us about? Why is Emmanuel bringing this topic? Why is Camanda bringing this topic to us today? Now, while I do my job every day, whether it's in Excel, whether it's in Google Sheets, whether it's in other big data tools, there's something I noticed that almost always happens, which is you have data sitting somewhere, you have data sitting somewhere else. You have two data sets, maybe two tables, maybe something coming from finance, something coming from a completely different department. And you need to bring all this data into one space to make sense of it, right? That is actually the bet of lookups, right? One will say, why would my data be sitting in different places? The truth is, when you work with data, you get to understand that data is usually not, what's the best way to put this? Data is usually not stored in one place. They are usually stored in tables, the concept of tables. I'll explain to you briefly the concept of spreadsheets. All right. What is a spreadsheet? A spreadsheet is an application, right? It's a tool that helps you to keep your data organized. All right. That's what a spreadsheet is. An example of spreadsheet is a digital tool or a software that helps you to organize your data, analyze your data, tabulate your data. When you see data stored in a tabular format, please, if at any time I am going too fast for you, or we are going faster than you would expect, please feel free to drop a comment or something so that we can catch our breaths too. Okay. A spreadsheet application like Excel, Google Sheets is used to keep data together in an organized manner, right? When you open a spreadsheet application, you will normally see rows and columns. One of the easiest ways to identify a spreadsheet application is when you see any tool that gives you a row and a column, right? A row and a column, in this case, I'm speaking of lines and bars. I don't know if that makes any sense. You see lines and you see bars. Bars are the ones standing straight, while the lines are the ones resting. Okay, any tool you see that gives you that can be called a spreadsheet application. All right. Now, okay, let me, before I even go into spreadsheet application, when you go to places where you still fill in registers using pen and paper, that book right there, even though it's not an app, right? It's not an electronic app, is a spreadsheet, right? Where you get to fill in your name, you fill in the time you came in and the time you're signing in and the time you're signing out. That right there is a spreadsheet tool, okay? Though it is not an application, right? That is where the whole idea of spreadsheets came up. Papers or broadsheets for the teachers in the house. If you have any teachers in there, please kindly indicate by, yeah, just indicate or wave your hand. I am a teacher, so I think I'll wave my hand first. But if you have teachers in the house, please indicate by waving your hand or doing something. Where you see a broadsheet, for instance, you have names of learners or names of students together with their scores and the rest. That's right there is another spreadsheet tool. All right. I think somebody put it nicely in the chat box just now. It says a register, exactly, like a register. Are you with me? So when you have something like a register, that's right there is a spreadsheet. Okay. But when we come to the electronic space, your computer, your system, and we start talking about tools like that, what tools can help you to achieve something similar? You have the likes of Microsoft Excel, you have the likes of Google Sheets. Okay, these tools help you to organize your data, keep them in a format that is easy to understand, and then you can analyze it, you can calculate based on that particular data. All right, I hope that makes sense. If I have not lost anybody yet, please just give some emojis or something, or say I'm okay. If you're still with me, I know I just started. Good. Okay, I can see them flowing in already. Please don't follow crowd, or if you are not, just drop your message in chat box. I do not understand that one. Okay, that's how we love to do our things around here. Thank you. Now, that is the spreadsheet. We laid the foundation for spreadsheet. Now, before we go ahead into the topic for today, which is the data lookups, I need to first of all give you an intro into what lookup is. Okay, in Excel, there are things we call functions and formulas. Okay, in Excel, and I'm using Excel as an example here, but if you're also in the Google spreadsheet space, you would also experience this exact same thing. A function and a formula. What is a function? What is a formula in Excel or in Google Sheets? A function is a predefined operation, right? Let me see if I can. Let me. Okay, I think I said today is going to be very practical. Let me go to Excel. Let me make this thing practical already, so I can explain functions and formulas to you using Excel practically. So I'll switch my screen to Excel quickly, so you can see my Excel screen. Please confirm when you see my Excel. I'll just share my Excel screen quickly. Please confirm when you see my Excel screen. I'm sharing my Excel right now. Good.
Showing now.
Good. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Now, functions and formula. When you come into Excel, this is also applicable to Google Sheets, right? We are going to use Google Sheets as well as long some point to also share some things. If you have Google Sheets in front of you, what I'm trying to explain to you is also applicable. All right. Here I have an Excel sheet, and this is not introduction to Excel. This is basically just teaching you something before we go into functions, the functions we want to talk about today, which is VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, and the rest. Okay. Right here, this is a spreadsheet application. These are the columns: column A, column B, column C, row 1, row 2, row 3. Okay. In each of these, where the two of them meet is what we call a cell.
We can't see your screen again. Okay, it's up.
Okay, is that for every? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you very much for saying that, and I'm glad it's back up for you. Here, that you are seeing, in this space where my mouse is right now, is what we call a cell. The intersection of where a column and a row meets. What exactly is going on?
Sorry, please, you can't see
sharing. Let me stop sharing and reshare, so we can all be on the same page. Gents, I don't know who said he can't see my screen. Please confirm if you can see it now. I just reshared.
Yeah, showing now.
Good. The gentleman who just said he wasn't able to see it earlier, are you able to see it now?
That
I'm
would
assuming
be
that's a
Ayo
yes.
Amidele. Can you see his screen now?
Yes,
Okay,
I
while
can
Ayo's
see
trying
the
to get his microphone. Okay,
Yeah,
fantastic.
say yes.
So the column and the row meet is what we call a cell. Inside of this cell, that place where you get to write your name on the register, that place where you get to write the student score, that is a cell. Okay. Inside here, once I press an equal to sign, I have basically initialized a formula in Excel. Initialize, let me break it down. I basically started a formula in Excel. Why? What does that mean? I can hear myself. There's a mic currently on. Kindly help me mute that person. Thank you. A formula in Excel is something that helps you calculate something. Okay? For instance, we have in this cell 5. We have in this other cell 9. Okay? Even if you've not used Excel before and you're seeing me do this today, once I press equal to in this other cell and I select 5 plus 9, what I have just done right now is I've just written a formula in Excel. This is something that your manual tools will not help you achieve. How many persons visited your organization today? Are you able to count that? You have to start counting one after the other, right? But in Excel or Google Sheet or any of these spreadsheet applications, you have the opportunity of writing formulas like this. Equal to, in this case, is me basically saying, I want to do something marvelous. I want to calculate something. That is me saying, I want to write a formula. Immediately you press your equal to, you're going to see a lot of that today. I'm laying this foundation because when we hand it over to the instructors, they'll be riding on this knowledge. Okay? Once you enter the equal to sign in any Excel, any spreadsheet application like this, you're basically starting a formula. Okay? And in this case, I've just said, help me add up whatever is in cell F4 and whatever is in cell F6 together. And once I hit enter, see what happens. Excel gives me 14 because 5 plus 9 is 14. And the beauty of that is it is dynamic, which means if I change it to 90, Excel will recalculate and give me 95. If I change this one up here to 200, Excel will recalculate and it will give me what? 290. Are we together? That right there is the simplest definition of a formula in Excel or in Google Sheet. It gives you the power to do some calculations. That said, I will now introduce the concept of functions. So if at any point in time you have any questions, please then ask questions. Ask me your question. Drop it in the chat box. We're more than happy to take that up. Okay? Then what is a function in Excel? Because this is also a concept you need to be aware of before we then go into the lookup or VLOOKUP we're going to be discussing today. Because there are some certain tools that persons like me use every day. I mean, if I have 1 million records and I need to add up everything, I won't be doing equal to plus row 1 plus row 2 plus row 3 plus row 4. That is not a good use of my time. If you have ever done that before, you are welcome to our session. All right? You don't have to do that again going forward, which means there are functions that helps you to do some certain things that has been designed to help you to do some certain calculations. You just need to know what they are. There are quite a number of functions in Excel and Google Sheet that you can use. By hitting equal to, for instance, you will see on the top left corner here, you will see a list of functions in Excel. All right, there are quite a number of them. Now, if I wanted to add up 3 values, right now I just did equal to this plus this. But instead of writing equal to this plus this plus this plus that, there is a function in Excel that helps me to group everything together. That is, for instance, a sum function. All right, equal to sum. As you can see, once I type equal to and I try to type, you can see these things here with FX in front of them. Hope you can see these things here, this drop down. Please confirm you can see it. Can you see my drop down? Like equal to sum, you can see the other things following it. All right, I'm assuming that is a yes because I haven't had, okay, someone just said no. Okay, let me stop. Let me reshare my screen so that we can be on the same page. I don't want you to miss out on anything that is important because we are getting into the cocoa of today. So go back to my Excel. Let me share my entire screen at this juncture. Okay, I'm back to Excel. Please confirm, Kingsley, Muiwa, Jacinta, can someone just confirm that you can see my screen now? Everything is okay?
Yeah, I can. The syntax is showing.
Good.
The intent also showing as well.
Fantastic. So in this case, once I type equal to sum, see what happens. Excel tells me, oh, you can use this function, sir, to add all the numbers in a range of cells. Okay. So this is, again, I said this is not an introduction to Excel class, but I'm just using this to lay the foundation. We can obviously come into our Excel sessions later. We have sessions for introduction to Excel and so on. So if you want to partake in that section, please feel free to reach out to us and we can set you up for a class. Okay. But I'm just laying this foundation because we need this for today's topic. So once I open my bracket here and I select a range, for instance, all of this, and I close this bracket, what I've just written, what I've just done right now is I've just called a function in Excel, right? The function in Excel in this case is the sum function. And once I hit enter, notice what happens. Excel gives me 580 as the sum total. Okay? 580 as the sum total. Please pardon me, I just have to clear all my notifications. 580 as the sum total. What is that doing? Which means as soon as any value is entered within this range, whether it is 5, your range is just 5 values in it, or enter more values, notice what happens. Excel just keeps adding it up. So whether you have 2 records or you have 1 million records, you can use a formula or a function as you so please. That is the concept I wanted to introduce to you. And there are other functions in Excel. One of the functions, or some of the functions we'll be discussing today: lookup, VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index and match. And we have a very wonderful set of persons that will be helping us through to discuss this particular topic today. At this juncture, I would love to take any questions at this point. If there is none, we'll go straight into the first lookup function for today. So back to you. Is there any question? That's everybody that's listening to me right now. Do you have any question, any comment before we proceed? Because I would like to introduce who you are right now.
Yes, sir. I have a question, sir.
Okay, please proceed with your question.
What is the difference between functions and formulas, sir?
All right. A function is a type of formula, right? A function is a type of formula that has been designed to do certain things. Okay, it's been predefined, it's been pre-designed to do certain things. For instance, if I wanted to count, apologies for all of this that is happening right now, because I need to, this is distraction. This is distracting, and I don't like these notifications that are coming up. Sorry about that. Let me share just my Excel again. So bringing back my Excel, in a function like count function will help me to count how many items I have in a range. Okay. But if I wanted to do that manually, I have to start doing count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I don't have to do that. But a count function in Excel, for instance, will help me to count a number of things in a range, which you should not be doing manually. So instead of doing some things manually, you can use your functions to do some certain things that has been predefined. Does that make sense? So the person who asked me, does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
A function is a kind of formula. But formula is the general name. A function is a kind of formula that has been pre-designed to do certain things. All right. Now that said, any other question before I proceed?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your question. Anyone from the chat box before I proceed? Okay, I will take that to be a no for now. All right, at this juncture, let me call upon my very good friend Muiwa. Muiwa, please, this is your turn. Let's talk about lookups. Let's talk about lookups. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jessica, for appreciating. I really do appreciate that. Yeah. So I'll stop sharing at this junction. Okay. So Muiwa, over to you.
Once again. Let me share my screen. Just confirm to me that I can see my screen. Yeah. Kindly confirm that I can see my screen, please.
Yes, it's up.
All right, Muiwa,
Okay, good.
before you go ahead, please. Muiwa, before you go
All
ahead,
right.
please. Can I do something?
Okay, sir.
Let me present something. So I think we should do it this way. I will share my slide I have for us on the functions, introducing the functions. Then you do the practicals using Excel. Does that work for you? Okay. So
Okay,
can you
sir.
bring up your Excel? I would like to, yes, exactly. Let's bring up Excel. Let's start with the lookup function while I share my screen at this juncture. Thank you very much. So let me share this quickly before while we're discussing with Muiwa. So please confirm you can see my slide. At this point, I want to introduce lookup. What is lookup? The lookup function is the first function we're discussing today. Before we can talk about other lookup functions, we need to lay the foundation using the lookup function. A lookup function in Excel helps you to search for values in one row or one column. So you can search from left to right, or you can search from top to down. Just one row and one column. All right. And when you have searched for the value, you can then return a result from another row or column. Now, this is plenty jargon. I'm saying this so that you can understand why. So that when we are explaining it using Excel, you get to understand what Muiwa is talking about. So imagine, for instance, you have a record set of employee information, and you have some very wonderful person named David. David is part of your employee. What is David's date of birth, for instance? What is David's department, right? You will notice that in your data sets, for those who have captured this kind of data before, you probably have David as one of the values in a row somewhere, right? You have this value as one of the rows in your row somewhere, and you have David's age in another column somewhere, his date of birth in another column somewhere, right? What you can then do with lookup is you can say, look, Excel, find me this value for David here, and then return this value here. So with Muiwa is going to showcase to us right now how we are going to do this in Excel. All right. And we are going to share the resources we are using today. If you have your own Excel file, please feel free to use it too. But we are going to share our own we are going to share these resources with you afterwards so you can play with this exact same file. But for now, listen to us, understand it, ask your question. Then if you have any questions for us afterwards, you can then ask. So Muiwa, please, at this point, can you share Excel and let us talk about lookup practically?
Thank you very much, sir. So starting with the lookup function. So these are data and these are sample space. Now from what you can see, the syntax is to look up, you have to look
Are you
for
sharing
a value.
though? It seems like you're
Yes.
just, I'm not sure you're sharing, sir. I'm not sure you're sharing.
Secondly,
I'm not sure you're sharing.
sorry.
Good. You're sharing now.
Can you see my screen,
Go ahead.
please?
Yes.
Okay. So as I was saying, these are data sets, then these are sample space where we'll be working out our lookup function. So now this is the syntax. Whenever I talk about syntax, we are talking about the order in which you must follow in order for a function to be actualized, or an operation to be actualized. Now, the lookup function here is first there's a lookup value. The argument is first there's a lookup value. Now, what is our lookup value? Our lookup value is the data we want to search for. You need to take note of this. Our lookup value is the data you want to search for. If there's no data to search for, then there's no essence of doing any form of lookup. So the data you want to search for is very, very important. Then the next argument is what is our lookup vector. So our lookup vector here now is the range in our data sets where we can find the data we are searching for.
Awesome. So you just said, so you just made one English there. Now let me jump in quickly, right? Muiwa, I appreciate the fact that you are showing us the syntax. So we want to use the word syntax before we lose our audience to what syntax means. Syntax simply means what are you supposed to provide? For instance, you want to transfer money to somebody, right? You have to enter the person's account number, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
You have to enter the person's account number. Exactly.
Yes.
Then when you enter the person's account number, you enter the person's bank, you will then notice that the person's name shows up. So in a shape or form, the person's account number and the name, in that case, is like a syntax that you must provide. Right? You must follow that, you must enter the account number and the bank so that the name can be generated. Does that make sense to people? That's in this case like a syntax. Are we together? So what Muiwa
Yes.
is basically saying here is that we are going to do lookup. There's a way you have to provide the data for Excel to find that value for you. And he used the word argument, right? What is argument in this case? Those values you are providing are what we call arguments. Okay? Those values you are providing are what we call arguments. In your bank application, where you are providing the account number, that's right there is an argument. The bank name is also an argument. Okay? So now let's go back to Excel. Let's not bring that our bank analogy into Excel. Meanwhile, please proceed. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So, yeah, our lookup value is the first thing. Don't forget why Prof was introducing us to calculate to formula and function. For us to be able to carry out any calculation is there, you have to start with your equals to. That is very, very important. If not, you'll not be able to perform any calculation. So now, the next is to type in your function. In this case, we want to look at our lookup function. Then once you have done that, Prof already defined the lookup function for us. So let me know what's going back to that. Let's just go straight into practical step. Open your brackets. Now, I have opened up the brackets. I can now enter, follow the syntax, follow the order. I can now enter my argument. So now the first thing is our lookup value. Remember I said our lookup value is the data I want to search for. The data, I've brought it out here. I've selected I've referenced the cell where the data is on cell I-15, followed by a comma. Then our lookup vector. So here in this case, our lookup vector is the range in that's your data, where you will the range in that your data set, where you want to search the data from and return the corresponding data. So in this case, these are data sets. I'm going to highlight that range. Remember, a range is selecting more than one cell in a Z. Once you select more than a cell in a Z, you have highlighted a range of cells. So I'm highlighting this range. That is my lookup vector, comma. So the next thing is my results vector. Your result vector now is that range where we find the result of the corresponding data I want to return. So in this case, I want to return date of birth. So I'm going to highlight the range of my date of birth. That's my result vector. Then I can now close my brackets and press enter. Now, can you see? Please, let's take notes. Forward Esther. Let's look forward Esther. And let's see if our result is wrong or right. Now, can anybody notice this? For forward Esther,
result seems wrong.
this result seems wrong. Now, here I'm going to introduce you to the limitation of this lookup function. For us to be able to carry out a lookup function, our lookup range must be sorted in ascending order. That's the reason why we're having this result as a wrong result. Our lookup range must be in ascending order. So let's sort our lookup range. Let's make it in ascending order and let's see our results. Let's go back. Forward Esther. Can we see that our result is correct now? So we need to take note of this limitation. We need to take note of this limitation. If not, if you try to use this lookup function and you have not sorted your lookup range, not in descending order, but in ascending order, then whatever we do, we come up with a wrong result. Let me just do one more step. Let me just show us once more. Then if anybody has question, he or she can ask. So let's say I want to look for another person. Copy paste. Equals to. I can see that somebody is raising his hand. Just give me a second. Okay.
Okay, yeah, some questions are already coming in, and I love the fact that someone says let's come up, let's do this again, and yeah, so
Okay,
it doesn't look like I think
that's what I'm
let's do
already
this
doing
again.
already. Yeah.
All
So
right.
now remember your lookup value is that data you are searching for. It is highly important. Reference it, comma. Your lookup vector again is that range in your data set where you want to bring in a result from. That range in your data set where you find the data you want to search for. So in this case, is our employee's name. I've highlighted that range, comma. The next step is your result vector. Now the result vector is that column we want to return. That column we want to return. That's the result vector. The column we want to return, you select that range, then you can now close the bracket and press enter. So let's confirm. Laura Toda. Can you see that the result is correct?
All right. Let's discuss. I mean, there's some interesting questions coming right now.
Okay,
And I would love to, yes, the person that asked you to come again has actually given you a thumbs up, which means they got that. Now, someone says, when do we apply lookup? When exactly do we need to apply lookup? I think I'd love to take that, right? But I mean,
okay.
start, please. Let me hear you. When do you think we should apply lookup? When do we use the lookup function?
Okay, now.
Because the one has been very popular has always been VLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, maybe XLOOKUP now, maybe index match. But when do we use lookup itself?
Now, first, from a practical experience, is what I make use of every day. From a practical experience. Now I have a data sitting somewhere. Okay, let's make use of, I have a data sitting somewhere. And I have another file where that I would like to match that data with. I have two data sets, data A and data B. Now data A is an incomplete file. Data A has some missing data in which I can find data B. Now, how do I bring in those missing components from data B into data A? Now, before I got to know about VLOOKUP, in this case, I'll be doing copy and paste. In what I'm telling you, what I was doing maybe some 6 years, 7 years ago, I was doing copy and paste. Now, imagine I have thousands of data. Even thousands of data is too much. I have 50 data. I have 50 rows that I need to fill in this missing data. How am I going to do this within the space of, let's say, 5 minutes? It is highly impossible. So how do I match a data to another data? That is where the concept of lookup comes in. VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, lookup function generally will help us retrieve data sets from a particular data and drop it into the corresponding data set in the data you wish to match it with. So whenever you have two data you like to match together, whenever you have a missing data or let's say an incomplete data somewhere, and the other data that will complete the missing data is sitting in another file or in another data, then it will be highly productive to use your lookup function to bring in these two data sets together. Have I been able to answer your question, please?
Awesome. But let me add to that quickly, right? Let me quickly add to that. I think as well, the lookup function, for instance, the way I understand it again from Excel, being an Excel user, is the fact that Microsoft, being a tool that keeps improving on the applications from time to time, started out by giving us very simple lookup function. Like if you want to look for a value in a column, just one value in a particular column or row, and return value from another column or row, you can simply use your lookup function. All right. But you will get to see later on that the lookup function being the base, then we start seeing things like VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, and the rest as advancements to that as people needs of users continue to increase. So lookup basically gives you one value from one column, returning value in another column, or one value from one row, returning in another row. Does that make sense? Now, you talked about, someone asked a question as regards to must our data be sorted? Muyiwa, must our data be sorted before we can use lookup? Before doing anything? That's the question.
Before,
Is it, in other words, before doing anything, is it advisable to sort values first?
depending on the type of the lookup function we're looking at. The
I
limitation
think you should,
of this
okay.
lookup function we are currently looking at is that our data must be sorted. That is the limitation of this current function we are looking at. But for subsequent ones that will be unraveled to us in a couple of minutes time, our data can be left whichever form they are. You don't need to sort it. It will still give you your results.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Sorry to ask, are you saying if our data is not sorted? Yes, you can use lookup, but your results, to answer the question again, if your data is not sorted and you use lookup, the values would be incorrect. And you don't want a system just doing things on its own, right? Okay. Must the data be formatted as a table before you can perform lookup, Muyiwa?
No. Capital no. Capital
okay.
no.
You can use lookup, but your results, to answer the question again. Is it possible to get the current information if we change the name from Howard to without repeating the same process? Okay, yes. Is it possible? Someone is asking, is it possible with
okay, without repeating the same process?
Name,
yes.
Exactly, without repeating the same process, yes.
Without repeating the same, change the name, right? Yes, without repeating the same process. Okay, let me just do this. Let's place the name on that. There's what we call reusing of formula. Now I have the formula on the row above. I can just copy it down using my autofill. Drag it down, and we have our results. So we just did that process again, just to recap. Basically, where we have thousands of data, we can't start entering the function for each row. No. Once you have for the first row, you use your autofill to fill up the subsequent row. Hope you have been answered, please.
All right. Let's then proceed then to okay. I think that should do it for lookup. I think for that questions we'll take it in the that should do for lookup. Thank you very much. If you are following so far, please let's see your reactions. Let's just make sure that we've not lost people. We've not lost people here. Okay, good. I'm happy to see that you are still following. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. That means people are still here. Can lookup be used in a pivot table? If yes, how can it be used? Okay, we'll answer that. Pastor I can see your question as regards lookup being used in a pivot table. Yes, that will be addressed. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Okay, then let's proceed. Let's move. Let's take it a notch higher. Okay.
Okay.
So the next level right now is on VLOOKUP. I mean, Muyiwa, you were talking so far about lookup, and we are telling our people that it's possible to get even better use of lookup. And people are very conversant. People know plenty things, or people have heard of VLOOKUP at least. So let's talk about this VLOOKUP briefly, right? I'll just share my screen and let's look at what VLOOKUP looks like. Okay. Introducing VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP, and the meaning of VLOOKUP in this case is vertical lookup. Okay, vertical lookup. What does that mean? Go through each row line by line and find the value that I'm looking for. Muyiwa just give us an example right now of lookup, where he says return. Lookup is like the simplest possible way to look for a value and return another value, right? You don't have to overthink. You don't have to over engineer it. You pick the value you're looking for, select the range you want to look for it in, and return the value you want, show the value you want to return. Lookup does that one for you easily. But there have been cases whereby you want to return 1, 2 different values from columns far away. That's when VLOOKUP was introduced. VLOOKUP helps you. VLOOKUP is quite powerful, and I don't know, my data analyst in the house, if you have been using any of these lookup functions, which one have you used the most? You are from your experience, which one have you used the most?
Yeah, up to today, VLOOKUP the most.
Up to today, VLOOKUP. Yeah.
VLOOKUP.
Now, the reason for VLOOKUP is because that guy is a lifesaver. It is simple to use, it is easy to understand, and it is a lifesaver. When you are dealing with more than one row of record, you want to fetch data from multiple rows of record, you want to find something that your eyes cannot just easily look through large set of data to find, lookup is the guide for you. You have a product list and you want to return the name. Yes, the concept of lookup still remains the same, but the how right now is where VLOOKUP comes into play. Are you with me? The whole thing we're discussing today is about VLOOKUP and index and match and all of these guys. It's about lookup, okay? But the how right now, you will get to see how powerful VLOOKUP is. For instance, we talked not too long ago about your data must be sorted when you are doing lookup. Now come and see how VLOOKUP handles that same challenge. Okay, so I'll hand it over to Muyiwa at this point in time to discuss with you VLOOKUP. If you notice the context, the syntax is looking different. We have the lookup value, we have the table array, we have the column index, and the range lookup. Please listen attentively. We're going to break down each of these steps so that you know what you're supposed to provide there. So it is not hidden, it is not a mystery. You get to know when I enter my VLOOKUP, what do I enter first? What do I enter next? What do I return next? So Muyiwa, take it away from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So please confirm that you can see my screen. Can we see my screen, please?
I can see your screen, Muyiwa.
Okay, good, sir. Thank you. So now, want to show us. Now, you said earlier, there's a limitation with lookup function, which is our data, our lookup table must be sorted. So let's take notes that here now our employee name column is not sorted in ascending order. It doesn't stop us from carrying out our VLOOKUP. So now let's take a look at our syntax. So by now we are conversant with what our lookup value is, which is the data I want to search for. Here now, after our lookup value, what is the next argument to provide them? Is our table array. So your table array is that data set where the data you want to search for is and where the result also is. The data you want to search for is there. The result you want to return is also in that table. So then the next argument is column index number. Now with VLOOKUP, you have to select or you have to highlight from your search range so where your result range is. Please take note of that. You highlight from your search range to where your result range is. And as you are highlighting, please be taking notes of the numbers of columns you have highlighted. Your search range is your column number 1. Then, depending on the column where your results is, so your search range column number, if your result range is on column F, for example, it means A, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then, after your column index number is your range lookup. Now, in most cases, where we run a lookup function, we want to return exact match. But there are cases in which we like to return an approximate match. We will see that after treating that of exact match. So without wasting our time, let's practicalize.
Okay, let me jump in there quickly, right? So that we are also on the same page. Muyiwa is going to showcase this to you. And Muyiwa, please enter the equal to. I want us to build it together, right? So what Muyiwa is basically saying, right, I don't know if I use the word. Let's not use Excel language. Let's not use range, right? Let's not use the whole column and the rest. What Muyiwa is saying in essence is, you see where that employee name is. I'm looking for employee, right? I'm looking for this employee's name, which is Zamora Jennifer, right? I'm looking for this employee name, and the date of birth is in another column, DOB, that's column E. Between column A, which is employee name, and DOB, we have column B, which is employee number. There's a gap, really. There is state, there is zip code, and there is date of birth in between. Muyiwa is saying with VLOOKUP, you can return any value you want from that employee name up until date of birth, if that is what you want. and you can continue to return as many other columns that you want going forward. Okay, so when Muyiwa says an array or a range, something like that nature, what it means is this data set that you're working with, okay, from start to finish, from the first column A to column E, where you have the date of birth, which is where he's going to get the data from. You can see that you will see how he's going to go about it right now. The way he's going to go about it is going to be slightly different from what we did in lookup, slightly different. So please pay attention. Okay, and if it's not clear, if it's looking like there is some magic in there, please call us out, ask the question, and we'll address it. So Muyiwa, please take it away from there. Let's start from the lookup value. What are we looking for?
Thank you
This
very
is how I
much.
explain it. What are we looking for? What is that value we are looking for? That's the first thing you should enter in your VLOOKUP. Okay, so please Muyiwa, let's select what we're looking for.
So now
VLOOKUP, and let's select what we're looking for. Yeah, go ahead, please.
our lookup value, that data I want, select it, reference your cell, reference the cell, comma. Now our table array, these are data. We want to return date of birth. So I'm going to highlight from the lookup range. Then you click and drag your mouse. So your result range. So as you can see, I've highlighted the employee's name. My date of birth is not on the second column. I need to continue highlighting. It's not on the third. I need to continue till I get to my date of birth. That's it. I'm done. I've highlighted from my lookup range to my result range. That's what make up our table array. Now, the next thing is enter your comma, your column index number. Now, from my lookup range to my result range, how many columns have I highlighted? A, B, C, D, E. We have highlighted 5 columns. The reason why we highlighted 5 columns again is because our date of birth is on the 5th column. If it is on the second column, we don't need to stress ourselves to the 5th column. We highlight to where your results is. You highlight to the column accommodating your results. So now our date of birth is on the 5th column. You enter 5 as your column index number, then comma. Now we are now on our lookup range. Do we want to return an approximate match or an exact match? In most cases, we like to return an exact match. In some rare cases, we like to return an approximate match. We are going to take a look at both. But for now, let's take a look at an approximate match. Sorry, an exact match to return what is actually the date of birth of Zamora Jennifer. So you can double click on this option, or you type 0 for an exact match, whichever is preferable to you. Then once you have done, you close the bracket and press enter. Now let's confirm our results. Zamora Jennifer. Can we see? Zamora Jennifer was born August 30th, 1979. So I did not have to sort my lookup range in ascending order. This is why your VLOOKUP is better than your lookup function. Any question for me, or let me quickly go over it just once again? Let me just quickly go over it.
I think we should do it once again. I agree with you. I think we should do it once again. Let's take another person's name. Let's take another person's name. Please, are you following? Don't let us wrap this in some shroud of mystery. Are you following what is going on here? Is it making sense to you? Is it simple enough for you to understand? Please, let's I can see thumbs up coming in. But if you didn't understand it, please let's come again. I like the person that said let's do that again. I appreciate that. So let's do that one more time. We're going to do it one more time. Pick another person's name. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let's do that one more time. Yes.
So equals VLOOKUP. Your lookup value, the data I am searching for. So don't be confused by that terminology lookup value. Just say within yourself the data I am searching for. Comma, my table array.
Where am I searching for?
The data where the result I want to return and the data I want to search for, where can I get them? That's where we have our table array. The data you want to search for is sitting somewhere else also. Then the result your result is against that data, is on that same row of that data. Where can I get it? That's the table array. Go there and highlight it. You highlight from your lookup range. You highlight from your lookup range. Don't stop highlighting until you get to your result range. I want to return date of birth. I'm not going to stop at employee number. Don't stop highlighting until you get to your result range. So as you're highlighting, you can also take notes. Instead of you counting manually, that was what I used to do some 2 or 3 years ago. As I'm highlighting, I'll be counting 1, 2, 3, no. As you're highlighting, take a look at your cursor as you're moving it. It is counting the row for you. Take a look at your cursor as you're moving it. It is counting the row for you. So you can see we are now on row 5, on column 5, sorry. So I can enter my command. So we highlighted our date of birth is on the 5th column. I'm going to enter 5. Comma. I want to return an exact match, not an approximate match. So I'm going to enter 0. I can now close my bracket and press enter. King Janet, 9th September 21st, 1954. Any question for us? Any question for us? Any question for me?
So Muyiwa, something I think we should showcase immediately then is, since we already have DOB within the range, can we return the zip code for King Janet?
Okay,
Let's just return the zip code for King Janet without changing so much. Yeah.
Okay, without changing so much. Okay, let's assume we want to change this to zip code. Assuming you want to change this to zip code. Now, your zip code is on column number what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Column number 4. Now, come into your formula. You can either double click the cell or go into your formula bar. Now, go to where you are, go to your column index. Your column index number, go to that position, then change it to your zip code is sitting on column number 4. Enter 4 and press 0. Janet, that's zip code 1902. 1902. The data successfully been carried out. Are we following? Are you with us?
So, do you want to take that? Do you want to take that one more time? I think
Okay.
it broke up a little. You want to take that one more time so you can
sorry.
see why we changing the column index number particularly.
Okay.
Right.
Now
we should get to the point where we got the result from and stop. But now I didn't stop at zip code, but I got the date of birth, and you're asking me now to go and select number 4. Why?
Okay.
Are you saying that VLOOKUP permits me to select do as I like?
Now the reason why we are able to just edit to 4. Now the initial function, the initial step we did was we highlighted to 5. As we all know, 5 is greater than 4, so we must have gone past column 4. Assuming we want to return gender, as we wanted to return gender, and initially we stopped at column 5. Now, if I enter column 6 for gender, you can see you just saw what happened. Let's assume I wanted to return gender, and I have stopped at date of birth previously. Then I say, okay, let me change it to gender. You can see that it could not provide us the result for gender. It's telling us reference. The reason for this is because our table array is not covering the gender column. Our table array, we do not highlight auto the gender column. So that's the reason why gender can't come up. But in this case, we can enter 4 because 5 is greater than 4. We highlighted our table array up to the 5th column. So that is why we could easily change our column number from 5 to a figure less than 5, which is 4, because we have highlighted all those columns initially. Then I can press my enter again. Hope I've been able to answer that.
So what happens when the value does not exist?
Now, when the value does not exist, now let's say, for example, let me search for my date of birth. It is not existing. It is not existing. Now, this is a current limitation with this is one of the current limitation with VLOOKUP. This is one of the current limitation with VLOOKUP. Now this value does not exist. I need a result to be returned. This value does not exist. Now, except I want an approximate match. If I want an approximate match, I can just I have another sample for us for there, but now let's assume.
So, but this is what it returns to you, right? It gives you NA when it doesn't find the value, correct?
When it doesn't find the value, but if I like to return something, if I like to return a text in replacement of that NA, I will just have an additional function. I don't want to return an approximate match here now, but my result is showing me NA.
Okay.
And I would like to have something in replacement of that NA. I can just add an additional formula, which now in another form of lookup function that we look at, it already covers this. But since the question has been raised, it would be nice to answer the question. I just have an additional formula, which is a logical formula known as if error. Now, this is an error thrown up to me. So I would like to replace that error. Now, so I'm going to say, okay, since there's an error, whenever an error is found, replace it with, okay, the person is not, let's say, not a staff. In case you're asking why my not a staff is in quotes, it's because this not a staff is the text, is in text. That is why I need to and enter.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much for introducing a new function there. I hope my friends on this call have not gotten lost at that point, but we'll do well to introduce more about if error later. Now, but let's address some of the questions that, can we go back to the NA part of this? Let's address some questions that someone has brought up here. One person asks, what happens then if the data that I'm looking for, that's the lookup value, is not in the first column? What happens?
That's now, aside the limitation of when your data is not found, it returns NA. Now, when your data is not in the first column, lookup function does not look right to left. It can only look forward. It doesn't look backward. It doesn't look right to left.
So that is a limitation in essence for VLOOKUP, right?
That is a limitation.
So we should keep that guy for XLOOKUP then.
So we have to make that will be covered by another form of lookup function.
Okay, good. And the reason I brought that up is because the concept of index match, which we'll get to very shortly, and the concept of XLOOKUP is addressing some of these things that you're just asking. What happens when the value I'm looking for is not in the first column?
Some of us, if maybe some of us that let's say some people that are lazy in using XLOOKUP, well, XLOOKUP or index and match, what they will do is just they cut,
change the column, change the column, right?
Yes, and take it back so that we can actually force our VLOOKUP to go.
Okay, that works too, but there's not every data set you'll be able to do that in, right? Because there are some data sets that are supposed to remain the way they are because that is how the business needs to use it. Do you get? That solves your
Yes.
problem, yes. What Muiwa just said right now solves your problem, yes. But note, that is not the
That's
only
not
way to solve the
ideal.
problem going forward. There are more flexible ways now of solving that problem, which is why joining this particular session today is going to be beneficial to you. Okay. Now that is for VLOOKUP. Someone asked a question here then. Why are you having 0? Where is 0 coming from? In that your formula, where is 0 coming from?
0. Okay.
Yes. Why did you not use
Remember
false?
in
Why
our
did you use 0? Yeah,
remember in
you are
our range
you're
lookup.
working for yourself at this point, right? Why is 0 there?
Okay,
Explain.
remember in our range lookup, I said we have either true to return an approximate match or false to return an exact match. Now, your false is the same thing as your 0 to return exact match. If I enter 1, it is the same thing as my true to return an approximate match. So I can decide to use either to use false or either to use 0. It doesn't change anything. It's still the same thing.
So we can use false to represent. We can use 0 to represent
I
false.
use 0 to represent.
We can use 1 to represent true.
Yes.
So Adeleye Adepoju, I hope that answers your question as regards to why we are using 0. Where's 0 coming from? Is because false can be replaced with 0 and true can be replaced with 1. Then somebody asked a follow-up question. Then why then do you have what can you explain the difference between exact match and approximate match? Since you're already here, can you quickly take us through that?
Okay, now, so since that question has been asked, now let's take a look of in a typical case where we can use an approximate match. Now, for example, in school, if you fall within a particular range, you'll be graded as pass, or you'll be graded as, if you fall within a particular range, you'll be graded as a first class student. Now, let's say I am a lecturer, for example. Now, I have the student results. Then we have our range to pick who is on pass, who is on third class, who is on first class, who is on second class. Now, please take a look at this. Look at our range. You can see we just have 1, 2, 3, 4. But look at our results. 2.4, 3.5, 2.3, 4.01. That is not within our range. That is not, they are not on our range. They are within, but they are not on the range as it is, as we have it here. So now if you are going to use exact match, then all of these ones that are not here will come up as NA. Then let's just quickly look at before I now take us to exact match. They will come up as NA. They will come up as NA. So you can see 2.49 is not here, 3.5 is not here, 4.5, 4.45 is not here. So in this case, now we need, they fall within a particular range. 2.49 fall within 2 to 3. 3.4, 3.5 falls within 3 to 4. So that means they should be graded. They should not come up with any, they should be graded. So you use an approximate match to return data, to return a lookup value that is not within your table array. These are table array now. You use your approximate match to return the nearest value, So now, to do that, let me start from the beginning. Our lookup
I
value.
think we should leave it there. Let's leave it there. Let's leave that one as the exact match. Let's create another column that shows us the approximate match, so we can see side by side what exact match looks like when you have something like this and what approximate match looks like. So you can then decide how you want to match your own data going forward. Okay?
Approximate.
So the way approximate match works, and for the person that asked, I can't remember the name now, is it gives you the largest value that is lower than the number or the value you're looking for. Okay, let me take that again. It gives you the high in the thing you're looking in the area you're looking for. It gives you the highest value that is lower than what you are currently looking for, than your lookup value. Okay, so Muiwa is going to show you an example of that quickly using this case of this
Approximate match.
CGPA approximate match. Please go ahead.
So because VLOOKUP, our lookup value, we are not new to that again. Our table array, comma, our grade is on column 2. So now, why am I not going to enter 0? Why am I going to enter 1 for true for approximate match? Because I need to return the closest largest value. So close the bracket. So can we see now? 2.49. It is not on this our lookup range, but it falls within this range of between 2 to 3. So it's falls between 2 to 2.9 rather. So you can see, so whoever has 2.49 is a third class student. Second class, we don't have 3.5 on our range, but it falls within 3.0 to 3.99 before the next range. So it's going to be given the second class honor. So that is how to make use of your approximate match to check within a range, so that wherever the figure falls, it can pick up the corresponding column. Hope you understand.
Interesting. I mean, are the questions coming in? Okay, someone says, no, Abdul Karim, it's not because of the decimals, right? The case here is when you're usually looking for exact match, it looks for the value exactly, and in the case where it doesn't match it, it returns NA. Okay, but as you can see with the likes of approximate match, we can get the largest value that is closest to what we are currently looking for. Okay. So somebody asked the question here, though, and I would love for us to address this quickly, Muiwa. What then happens when you have the same value you are looking for? Because this is a typical thing. This is what happens many a times. In a record set, the records are not necessarily, the value you are looking for is not necessarily unique, right? So employee names, I mean, we can have the same person bearing Muiwa in the same organization, right?
Okay.
What then happens with VLOOKUP, and what should everyone on this call look forward to in other functions? What happens when VLOOKUP, because VLOOKUP of course does something. What does it do when you have the same value appearing twice?
Okay, now VLOOKUP at default picks the first data. If I have 2 names, VLOOKUP is going to return me the data for the first person. If I have 2 robots, for example, VLOOKUP is going to return me the data for the first robots. So this is one of the limitations we have currently with VLOOKUP, which a function like XLOOKUP has taken care already. So once we have duplicated lookup value, only the first data will be returned. So it's that data it returned for the first person will now be given to the others. So for example, let's say Robert here now, as let's just assume here there's another Robert. It's okay, sorry. It is not linked to Robert. So let me say, okay, let's do this. Let's say Robert. Just to run a quick test. Now I want to look for Robert's results. So equals to VLOOKUP Robert. Now so can we see? So it's returned. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
So it's returned for the first Robert 2.49. Why it's neglected the second Robert who has
So in other words, it is recommended that whenever you're doing your VLOOKUP, you are looking up values in a place where you have unique values. That is one. Or you find a way to get a unique value to search with. Recommended. Recommended. I think we should put it that way. Recommended. That's not what is always going to happen, but as a recommended way to go about that in VLOOKUP. Are we speaking the same language?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. But I also need to mention though, when this same thing you just talked about, right? And I'm glad these questions are coming up here from business users and other users of Excel. The truth is that this experience you're having is what we are always having with data and the rest, lookups and the rest. What's with the XLOOKUP function, right? You have so many of these things being answered. That's why I would encourage you to sit and wait for the XLOOKUP part as well. Don't give up on these ones here too. These are very. Since today, I don't use XLOOKUP as much as I use VLOOKUP.
I rarely use XLOOKUP.
Because VLOOKUP does the job for me. Do you understand? VLOOKUP does the job for me, and I think the same thing for many of us. But there are some certain cases like returning multiple values, which is this question that you're asking. What happens? VLOOKUP will return just the first one, but see what happens in XLOOKUP. When we get there, we'll discuss that briefly. How to return the multiple values when we get to XLOOKUP.
Then
okay?
also we need to take note that some people are restricted to VLOOKUP because they are not privileged to use Z 2021 Office 365. So it is on a newer version of Excel. Except you have
access to Google Sheets, you have it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except you have access to Google Sheets.
Good. Someone has requested that you explain this approximate match one more time, just for the sake of posterity.
Okay,
just explain it one more time. Explain the function so that we can go on to the other functions. Thank you.
Now, in a case where I have a result that can be found on our lookup range, but I will like that result. I like that result to have I like a value to be returned for that result. Now it can't be found on the lookup page, but I would like to add a value to be returned for that result. Now approximate match is going to return the largest value that is lesser than the lookup value.
0.9, yes.
Is going to return it to us. Now, so in most cases where you are, now for example, you are a salesman, you want to calculate sales commission so that you know how much you earn at the end of the month. This is a case where you make use of approximate match. Aside from student result that we're looking at, that's a case where you make use of approximate match also. So now, your lookup value, table array, the column index. Now, your 0 or your false is going to still return exact match. And as you can see in the case of this column, our exact match returned ending because 2.49 can't be found on this lookup range. But it is still within 2.49 is still within 2.0 to 2.99. It is within this range directly. So the approximate match will work for us to return the closest value. So now 2.49. So instead of entering false or 0, I've decided to enter 1 or 2. So 1 or 2 gives us our approximate match. So doing that, you can see 2.49 returns third class for us. Third class is within 2.0 to 2.99. You see, so from 3.0 to 3.99, that's under reach for second class. You can see 3.5 can't be found there. But choosing an approximate match, you get the class of results that person should have. Hope that question has been answered.
While we wait for further questions, I think it's time for us to build on the knowledge that we have. Please, if you are still with us, right? Like I know we've been speaking some grammar. Nobody has been making comments. Can someone just unmute their mic and tell us how it has been so far for them? Just one person. Please don't shed tears. I can see the thumbs up, but can someone just quickly unmute their mic and tell us how it's been for them so far? I can tell you. Yes, go ahead, please.
Please, it's been a good experience so far. However, I have a question based on what Mr. Miwa pointed out earlier. I thought you said VLOOKUP looks from left to right, and I noticed that the values we've been using as our lookup value, the columns were starting at the very first column. I mean, they were the very first value in terms of our range. Now, this time around, as opposed to having grade in the at the start of our search range, we have it in the second column, which is a little bit different from what we've been doing so far. I mean, for the lookup values, they've been the very first column that started our search range. Do you think that does that really not matter at the end of the day? Because you said it look from left to right.
Yes.
Good question. Good question. Thank you very much, Akintayo, for that.
Our range. Look at. See. Our range. No, our grade is our lookup value. Our range is where we are going to check if we are looking from left to right. So even I think I understand your question, but even if let's assume let's assume I have something else before I range. Let's just assume this is what I have before I range. As far as we are still looking, we are not looking H to G. Let's take a look at it. H to I. After H is I. We are not saying H to G. If you have said H to G, that means we are looking right to left, we are looking backward. That would not work. So we are looking forward. So it can be B, C, D. It can be D, E. It can be F, G. It shouldn't be F, E. It shouldn't be E, D. So you are looking for that way. It doesn't matter the position where your search data is on your table array. Your search data can be on column K. As far as the result you want to return is after your search data, you are good to go. The result you want to return should not be before your search data. The result you want to return should be after your search data and not before your search data.
So in other words, what you are saying then is that it doesn't matter the value I'm looking for. That's my lookup value. It doesn't matter where that guy is, right? My lookup value is the first item in the syntax. It doesn't matter where that guy is, which is what Akintayo was asking. Whether it's in the first column or the other one, it doesn't matter where the lookup value is coming from. But what matters is that in the table array, where the result is coming from, right?
Yes.
That column you're looking for must be the first column. So in this case, range is the first column here, which we are looking for grade in the range.
Yes.
Akintayo, does that make sense? We're looking for grade. Akintayo, please, can you unmute your mic? Let's see if we can have this conversation quickly.
Yes.
We are looking for grade in the range. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in the table where we are looking for in the range, remark, and the rest, range must be the first column at that point in time. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right. I hope that clarifies that for every other person too.
Yeah, better. Thanks.
Awesome. Muiwa, your kudos are coming. Someone says great clarification. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much.
So without further ado, I would love to crave your indulgence. I mean, I feel like we should do a part 2, but I don't want us to do a part 2. If we are in support of doing part 2, or we should just continue? Which one do we do? Because I know time's already 1:30. Which one do we do? Should we take a vote? And should we continue, or do we do a part 2? Because we just got into VLOOKUP. People are giving thumbs. I don't know what the thumbs up is for. Continue or part 2? Continue or part 2?
Thumbs up should be votes for. Yeah, voting for part 2.
Which one do we do? It's great. It's getting interesting. Okay. because I know we promised to round up the session at 1:30, and we've gotten you to the point where we wanted to get you with respect to VLOOKUP, right? We want XLOOKUP. I also want to share XLOOKUP with you. I also continue. Okay, I think we should take a quick survey. If you are for part 2, kindly indicate by raising your hand. Every other person's hand that is down, we'll take it to be that you want us to continue now. So if you are for part 2, right, we have a significant number of persons. It is really a part 2 something, no? Okay, let's see.
We have part 2. We have 9 currently. Raise your hand. Please use the raise hand button. Okay, we have 13 persons. Are there more? 14. 15. Okay, 17. Okay. So 18. All right. We have 8. Okay, we have 19 now. 19 persons want a continuation at a later time.
We can just do next week. We can do immediately next week. So we can just put it for next week immediately.
Okay.
I mean, the number of people that have raised hands for second part is really, really increased. I mean, that's a lot of people already.
That's 19,
okay.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah, that's gotten to 20 already. Most half of the class today is going for that. Okay, all right. So someone say let's continue. And see, as much as interesting for me to continue, we also want to respect the time that we have committed to, right? We already have a good, I mean, you guys have taken time to come here today, and we want to respect your time. I want to honestly, this is what we love to do every day. This is what we love to do every day. Right? This is what we love to do. So, but we don't want to lose. We don't want to lose half of our audience already. We don't want to lose half of the audience just because of time reasons. So I think what we should do at this point in time, Kingsley Muyiwa, please confirm that you are okay with this too. What we can do at this point in time is to push for a different immediately next week Saturday, right? Does that make sense?
That's fine. Yeah, we are okay. I'm okay.
That makes sense, right? Okay,
yes,
so it's been a pleasure. I mean, what we love to talk about at this point is, I mean, who we are.
Somebody's asking if the video was recorded.
Chinedu is asking, is there a video we can apply for?
Okay, good. This session has been recorded and it's going to be made available to you today. It's going to be made available to you later today. Once it's made, we're going to make this available to you via Camanda Academy Classroom. Okay, so what is Camanda Academy? We are a marketplace where we make skills available, like skills like this: Excel skills, business skills, digital skills, tech skills available to people who are ready to learn them. So we encourage you to visit Camanda Academy today to find out new skills that you can learn. Visit camanda.academy/register to get on board a new skill today. We're more than happy to take you on board. And if you are interested in learning a particular skill, please drop your name and email in the chat box. We will take that up and reach out to you privately on registering you for the next class. You can use the chat box to talk about what you want to learn: Excel skills, a Power BI skill. We have digital marketing skills that you can learn as well. We package them in 6 weeks to 8 weeks programs, short programs that you can learn and you can continue with your job, learn in the weekend, and become a professional in these skills. So we have a very great rating for people who have attended these classes like this before. As you can see, time is not usually our friend when it comes to short webinars like this. We would love to teach you more, take you through these particular sessions. Muyiwa is available, Kings is available. We have a range of other professionals like them who will take you through these skills. So please, if you're interested, drop your name or the program you want to learn and your email in the chat box. We'll take it up from there and we'll reach out to you.
If is interested in Power BI.
Interested, good, very good, very good. Or you can visit camanda.academy to find other programs that you can register for. I would also love to use this opportunity to talk about our partners. Revstar is a community of salespeople, marketing. So if you're on this call, a salesperson, a data analyst, you're a marketing person, a customer service professional, there's a community where you can join, right? And RevStar focuses on building skills. Networking is a great place to network. And we at Camanda, we are proud partners of RevStar. We currently collaborate with RevStar in generating in lessons like this, in workshops, getting experts. You need to be in the RevStar community to see what actually happens there. I mean, I was there the other day when we were discussing and dissecting digital marketing lingua, right? You can join RevStar community today to learn more about marketing, to meet other like minds like you, sales professionals, marketing professionals, revenue leaders, and the like. So join RevStar community by visiting revstarcommunity.com, and they'll be more than happy to welcome you. And that has been my time today. It's been a pleasure sharing this skill with you. We are going to come back to you next Saturday. We're not missing it. Next Saturday, we are going to send you another invite for this same session for next Saturday. I'd love to hand it over at this point to Jacinta. Jacinta, thank you for hosting us today. Back to you, please. Is Jacinta still with us? Thank you very much, Kingsley. Thank you very much, Muyiwa, for today's session. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much. We are going to come next week to discuss index and match, HLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, okay? We are going to discuss all of that. I will personally take index and match, so look forward to that, okay? I will personally take index and match, so I'll look forward to sharing that knowledge with you. There are some tricks up my sleeve when it comes to index and match. I will look forward to sharing that with you. So invite your friends. So those who did not join today, invite them to take part in this session next Saturday. Thank you very much. Back to you, Jacinta.
All right. Thank you so much. I mean, that was a very interesting session. Well, majority carries the votes, right? Because I was going to go for let's continue. I mean, I have all Saturday as long as this is as interesting as it is so far. So we just want to extend and say, we just want to extend our regards and say thank you, Mr. Muyiwa. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you everyone for joining. This has really been very engaging, and it's exciting to know that we're going to be back here again next week Saturday for the part 2. So you cannot join part 1 and afford to miss part 2. So I'm looking forward to having everyone join us again next week Saturday, same time. I believe we would communicate that. I've also listed the number of courses we have available. I saw that some people were asking in the comment section. Please feel free to also visit camanda.academy/register to register for any of our courses. We look forward to seeing you again next week Saturday. Thank you so much for your time. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.
An email will come to you all very shortly about your experience today. Please feel free to share your
Karim is asking if there's any practice, anything you can practice with the lookup and VLOOKUP.
Yes, we're going to send that to you via email as well. We already have the email. We're going to send you the materials to use to practice this particular XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, and the rest, okay? An email will be coming to you later today. Please share your feedback. While we are sending the recording of this particular session to you, we'll also be sharing the practice materials together with that, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
So if you want to learn a skill, please drop your name or your email in the chat box. We'll take it up from there and share how to join that particular skill training coming up. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure sharing this knowledge with you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Kingsley. Thank you, Muyiwa.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prof.